Namaste and Siddhi Pranam. Welcome to today's topic, which is understanding nutrition for pregnancy, post-delivery and breastfeeding period. So let's dive into understanding the role of nutrition during the entire phase of motherhood. So proper nutrition plays a crucial role in supporting a healthy pregnancy, post-delivery recovery and successful breastfeeding journey. And during these periods, the body has increased nutrient requirements to support the growth and development of the baby. And also to heal and recover from the childbirth, nutritions are really required. And also to provide the optimal nutrition through the breast milk to the child also. So we are going to discuss the essential nutrients and dietary consideration for each stage of pregnancy during this chapter. And we will ensure that all nutrients that are essential for ensuring the well-being of both the mother and child are covered. So first is the importance of macro and micronutrients. So macronutrients are nutrients needed in larger quantities that provide energy and support to our bodily functions. And they include carbohydrates for energy, proteins for growth and repair, and fats for energy and protection. So micronutrients are nutrients that are needed in smaller quantities that are essential for proper growth, development, and our overall health. And they primarily include vitamins for various bodily functions, minerals for processes like bone health and enzyme activity. So both macro and micronutrients are important for maintaining optimal health. And macronutrients provide energy and support to bodily function, while micronutrients are crucial for various physiological processes and preventing deficiencies. So a balanced diet that includes a variety of foods is necessary to ensure an adequate intake of both micro and macronutrients. So let's look into macronutrients first. And first component of macronutrients is carbohydrate. So carbohydrate intake during pregnancy is important as it provides energy and essential nutrients for both mother and the baby. So the exact amount of carbohydrates needed can vary depending on many factors like pre-pregnancy weight, activity level of the mother, as well as her individual metabolism. But the recommended dosage of carbohydrates is about around 40 to 65% of the total calorie intake during the pregnancy phase. And opting for complex carbohydrates like whole grains, fruits, and vegetables will work for sustained energy. And focusing on consuming complex carbs, which are rich in fiber, vitamins, and minerals also will be a great idea. So good sources of carbohydrates includes whole grains like whole wheat, oats, quinoa, brown rice, and also starchy vegetables like sweet potato, corns, and fruits. And then comes to protein. Protein also plays a very vital role in supporting the growth and development of the baby as well as maintaining the health of the mother. So the recommended protein intake during pregnancy is slightly higher than the general adult population, and the specific amount of protein needed can vary based on the factors like pre-pregnancy weight, activity level of the mother, and her individual needs. However, general guideline is to aim for additional 25 grams of protein per day compared to the pre-pregnancy needs. So some of the key considerations that we need to take regarding protein intake would be, number one is to choose high quality protein sources. So we can opt for high quality protein sources that provide essential amino acids and other nutrients. And good sources of protein can include lean meats like poultry or fish or beef, eggs and dairy products like milk, yogurt, cheese, legumes like beans, lentil, chickpeas, tofu, tempeh, and quinoa. And next consideration is adequate protein variety. So we have to incorporate a variety of protein sources to really ensure the diverse range of amino acids and essential nutrients. And this can be achieved by including both animal and plant-based protein sources in our diet. Next is balanced meal and snacks. So we need to distribute the protein intake throughout the day by including protein in each meal and snack and pairing protein with carbohydrates, healthy fats, and fiber that can provide sustained energy and help maintain stable blood sugar level. And we also need to look for nutrient-rich protein sources. So we need to choose protein sources that offer additional beneficial nutrients. For example, lean meats provide iron and vitamin B12 also, while dairy products offer calcium and vitamin D. So incorporating plant-based protein sources like legumes and tofu will provide the fiber and the folate and the various minerals that are needed to sustain the body. Now let's look at the fat. So fats consumption during pregnancy is also very important for various reasons, and that includes providing energy, supporting fetal growth and development, and aiding in absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. However, it's also essential to focus on consuming healthy fats and maintaining a balanced approach. So some of the key considerations regarding fat intake during pregnancy would be: number one, to choose healthy fats. We need to emphasize on consuming healthy, unsaturated fats while limiting the intake of unhealthy, saturated, and trans fats. So healthy sources of fat include avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil, fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and natural nut butters. And these fats are beneficial for heart health and provide essential fatty acids. We need to look for omega-3 fatty acids. So omega-3 fatty acids, specifically DHA, and are very, very crucial for the development of the baby's brain and eye. And foods that include that would be fatty fish like salmon, trout, and sardines, or plant-based sources like walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds in our diet to obtain omega-3 fatty acids. And if needed, we need to consider high-quality fish oil or algae-based DHA supplement under the guidance of healthcare professionals. Now let's look at another consideration which we need to take care in the fats is moderate saturated fat intake. So while saturated fats can be part of a healthy diet in moderation, it's really important to not overconsume them at all. So sources of saturated fats includes fatty cuts of meat, full-fat dairy products, butter, or coconut oil. So we need to opt for leaner cuts of meat, low-fat or reduced-fat dairy products, and limit the use of saturated fats in cooking and baking. We need to avoid trans fat. So trans fat are unhealthy fats that are commonly found in processed foods like baked goods and fried foods and margarines, etc. So these fats should be avoided as much as possible, as they can increase the risk of heart disease and negatively impact the fetal development. Next is caloric consideration. So fats are more calorie dense compared to carbohydrates and proteins. While fats are important for a healthy pregnancy, but it's crucial to maintain overall balance and calorie appropriate diet to support the weight gain within the recommended range. So we need to consult a healthcare professional or a registered dietitian to determine an appropriate caloric intake based on the individual needs. Next consideration in the fat is fat-soluble vitamin absorption. So some vitamins like vitamin A, D, E, and K are fat-soluble, meaning they require fat for proper absorption, and consuming healthy fats along with foods rich in these vitamins such as colorful fruits and vegetables and dairy products and fortified cereals can help ensure the absorption and utilization. So what we need to remember is that our focus should be on consuming healthy fat as part of the balanced diet that includes variety of nutrient-dense foods, and consulting with a healthcare professional or dietitian specializing in prenatal nutrition can provide personalized guidance on fat intake and overall nutrition intake during pregnancy. addition to these three macronutrients, it's also important to consume an adequate amount of water, and it is crucial for maintaining proper hydration and supporting various physiological functions in the body. So it's essential to maintain a balanced and varied diet that includes all macronutrients to ensure proper nutrition during pregnancy. And some dietary needs may vary depending on mother to mother and her body, so it's really recommended to consult registered dietitian whenever required for personalized advice. Now let's look into macronutrients-rich foods. So some of examples of macronutrients-rich foods would be carbohydrate-rich foods like whole grains, brown rice, quinoa, oats, wheat bread, whole grain pasta, and starchy vegetables like sweet potatoes, corn, peas, and some legumes also do have good carbs like black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, and fruits like banana, apple, orange, berries, and mangoes. Now, protein-rich foods are lean meats like chicken breasts, turkey breasts, lean cuts of beef, pork, then fish and seafoods like salmon, tuna, shrimp, cod, and eggs can be consumed as whole eggs or egg whites, and also legumes and beans. All of that are rich sources of protein. Now, when we look at the dairy products, yogurt, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, milk, cheese, all these are great source of macronutrients. Now, plant-based proteins like tofu, tempeh, seitan, edamame, and other lentils are also great sources. So healthy fat-rich foods will be avocado, almonds, walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, peanut butter, almond butter, olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, and fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines. All of these are sources for the fat-rich foods. Now let's look into the micronutrients. So micronutrients are essential nutrients that are required by the body in smaller amounts compared to the macronutrients. And they include vitamins, minerals, which are necessary for proper growth and development and overall health. And when we look into the overview of the micronutrients, first would be vitamins. So vitamins are organic compounds that are essential for various bodily functions, and they are classified into two groups. Fat-soluble vitamins, which are vitamin A, D, and K, and water-soluble vitamins, which is B-complex vitamins and vitamin C. And each vitamin plays a specific role in the body, like supporting the immune system, promoting the healthy cell function, aiding in metabolism, and helping with absorption of other nutrients. Now let's look into minerals. So minerals are inorganic substances that are crucial for various physiological processes, and some important minerals include calcium, zinc, magnesium, potassium, and iodine. And they are involved in functions like bone health, nerve function, muscle contraction, oxygen transport, and enzyme activity. Now, next important component is iron, and iron consumption during pregnancy is important because iron plays a very crucial role in production of red blood cells and delivery of oxygen to both mother and the baby. And pregnancy increases the body's iron requirement to support the growth of the placenta and expansion of the maternal red blood cell mass. So some of the key considerations that we need to keep in mind while consuming iron in pregnancy would be this. First is recommended iron intake. So the recommended daily intake of iron during pregnancy is 27 milligrams per day, and this is higher than the journal recommendation for non-pregnant adults, which is 18 grams for women of childbearing age. And iron-rich foods that includes a variety of good sources of iron would be like lean meats, like beef, pork, poultry, seafoods like shellfish, clams, oysters, and fortified cereals and legumes like beans, lentil, chickpeas, tofu, tempeh, nuts, seeds, and dark leafy vegetables like spinach and kale are iron rich. Next consideration is enhancing the iron absorption. So to enhance the iron absorption by consuming certain food is a great idea. So we need to add foods that are rich in vitamin C along with iron containing food, and that enhances our absorption for iron. So vitamin C basically helps convert the plant based, which is non-heme iron, into more easily absorbable form. So citrus fruits, strawberries, tomatoes, bell peppers, and broccoli are great sources of vitamin C, and you can pair these foods with iron-rich plant-based sources like legumes and dark leafy greens, etc. And and when we cook in the cast iron, it adds on the iron absorption. So cooking acidic foods like tomatoes, like some tomato sauce and cast iron, can really increase the iron content in the food, and this can be really helpful strategy to boost the iron intake. So next would be iron supplements. So iron supplements, in some cases, supplementation may be recommended by the healthcare professional if iron levels are low or there is increased risk of iron deficiency or anemia. And iron supplements really should be only taken under the guidance of the professional healthcare provider or the doctor. Now, we need to avoid iron blockers. So certain substances can inhibit the iron absorption, and it's advisable to avoid consuming tea, coffee, and calcium supplements around the meal times, as they can interfere with iron absorption. Also, phytates found in the whole grains and legumes can hinder iron absorption to some extent, but the impact can be minimized by soaking, sprouting, or fermenting these foods prior to consumption. Now, next consideration for iron is regular blood tests. So regular monitoring of iron level through blood tests is important during pregnancy, and this really allows healthcare professionals to assess iron status and determine if supplementation or dietary adjustment are necessary. And it's really important to note that iron needs may vary depending on the individual circumstances, such as pre-existing iron deficiencies or certain medical conditions. Therefore, it's really recommended to consult with doctor or registered dietitian who can provide personalized guidance on the iron intake and monitor the iron levels during pregnancy. Now, next is calcium. So calcium intake during pregnancy is very, very crucial for the development of the baby's bone, teeth, heart, nerves, and muscles, and the recommended intake of calcium varies depends on the age and specific stage of pregnancy. So some of the journal guidelines for calcium intake during pregnancy would be from age for women in age of 14 to 18, about 1300 milligrams per day, and women in age from 19 to 50 is 1000 milligrams per day. And it's really important to note that these are general recommendations and individual needs may really vary. And if we have any specific concerns or medical conditions, then we really need to consult with a healthcare provider to have the personalized advice. So when we have to look at the good sources of calcium, that would include dairy products like milk, cheese, yogurt, and fortified plant-based milks. That are alternatives like soy milk, almond milk, dark leafy greens, like kale, spinach, broccoli, and then tofu, sardine, salmon, and calcium-fortified foods like orange juice and cereals. And so it's really difficult to meet the recommended calcium intakes through diet alone. So we really need to consult the doctor if they suggest calcium supplementation and if it's required during pregnancy. And most women do require calcium supplementation. So, and it it will also be required that we also take proper guidance from medical professionals on the proper dosage, and we never exceed the recommended dosage, as excessive calcium supplementation can have a lot of adverse effect on the health of the mother and the baby. Now, next essential component is folic acid. So during pregnancy, folic acid is really essential for proper development of the baby's neural tube, and which eventually becomes the brain and spinal cord. So adequate folic acid intake before and during early pregnancy can significantly reduce the risk of neural tube defects in the baby. And some of the journal guidelines for folic acid consumption during pregnancy would be that in the conception phase, it would be recommended that the woman of childbearing age can consume about 400 milligrams of folic acid daily, and even if they are not currently pregnant. And this helps ensure that the body does have enough folic acid available during the early stages of pregnancy. And during the pregnancy, the recommended daily dosage of folic acid increases by 600 to 800 milligrams. So this higher dosage is really important for proper development of the baby's neural tube and other vital organs. And there are also foods that are good sources of folic acid, and that might include leafy green vegetables like spinach and kale, and legumes like lentil, chickpea, and citrus fruits like orange, grapefruit, and fortified cereals that are enriched with folic acid would be some bread and pasta. And in addition to the dietary sources, most prenatal multivitamin supplements do contain folic acid to help meet the required increased requirement of folic acid during the pregnancy. So it's really important to take these supplements as prescribed by the doctor. And if someone is really planning to become pregnant or are already pregnant, then it's crucial to discuss their folic acid needs with their doctor, and they can really provide personalized recommendations based on their individual circumstances. Now let's look into micronutrients-rich foods. So micronutrients are found in wide variety of foods, including fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean meats, dairy products, nuts, seeds, and legumes. And consuming a balanced and diverse diet is really important to ensure adequate intake of micronutrients. And in some cases, dietary supplements may be recommended, especially for specific nutrients that may be difficult to obtain through diet alone, or in cases of deficiency. So some of the examples of micronutrients-rich food are abundant in various vitamins and minerals would be leafy green vegetables like spinach, kale, Swiss chard, collard greens, and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower and Brussels sprouts and cabbage, and brightly colored fruits and vegetables like berries and strawberries and blueberries and raspberries, citrus fruits like oranges and lemon and grapefruits, bell peppers like red, yellow, orange bell pepper, sweet potatoes, carrots, and legume and beans and like lentils, chickpea, black bean, kidney beans, and then also nuts and seeds like almonds, walnut, chia seeds, flaxseed, pumpkin seeds, and whole grains like quinoa, brown rice, oats, wheat bread pasta, and wheat bread and pasta, all of this, and also dairy or dairy alternatives like Greek yogurt, and then milk products, cow milk or fortified plant-based milk, anything would help. And then cheese, also then fish and seafood like salmon, tuna, sardines, and shrimp. And lean meats like poultry, like chicken breast, turkey breast, lean cuts of beef, pork, and then eggs can also be included in the form of whole eggs or egg whites. And including a variety of these foods in the diet can really help ensure the good intake of essential vitamins and minerals And it's important to consume a balanced and diverse diet to meet the individual micronutrient needs. And if someone has specific dietary requirements or restriction, consulting with the healthcare professional or the registered dietitian would be again recommended for meeting the proper nutritional needs. Now let's look into the importance of hydration during pregnancy. So maintaining proper hydration is so crucial during pregnancy to support the health and well-being of both the mom and the baby. And some of the tips to stay hydrated would be to first drink an adequate amount of water, which is one needs to aim at least 8 to 10 cups or 64 to 80 ounces of water per day. And they need to carry a water bottle with them to remind themselves to drink throughout the day. Next would be monitoring the urine color. So a simple way to gauge the hydration level is to check the color of the urine. Clear or pale yellow urine generally indicates good hydration, while the dark yellow urine may indicate dehydration. And one can also include hydrating foods like many fruits and vegetables that are high in water content can contribute to overall hydration. And some examples would be watermelon, cucumber, oranges, strawberry, and some soup. Now we need to limit caffeine and sugary drinks. Caffeinated beverages like coffee and tea can have a diuretic effect, which means that they may increase the urine output and potentially contribute to dehydration. Sugary drinks should also be consumed in moderation due to their high sugar content. And next is being mindful of physical activity. So we need to engage in exercise or other physical activities during pregnancy, but it's important to drink additional fluids to compensate for the fluid loss through the sweat. And then at the end, consulting with the healthcare provider regarding appropriate exercise routines during pregnancy would be really helpful. Then considering electrolyte-rich beverages. So in cases of excessive sweating, vomiting, or diarrhea, electrolyte-rich beverages like sport drinks or rehydration solution can help replenish the electrolytes and fluids. And last but not least, listening to your body. Paying attention to the body's signal of thirst and drink whenever you feel thirsty is so crucial. And pregnancy does increase the body's water need. So it's really important to respond to these signals, and we need to remember that every pregnancy is different and every pregnant woman is different, and their individual hydration needs may also vary. So if we have any concern in this, we really need to see and consult the doctor for personalized advice and maintaining the hydration during pregnancy. Now looking at the healthy eating habits during pregnancy. So first is eating small frequent meals to combat pregnancy discomforts like nausea and heartburn, and incorporating a variety of colorful fruits and veggies to obtain range of vitamins and minerals. And then we need to choose clean sources of protein and low mercury fish to avoid potential risk. Then we need to limit caffeine, and then processed foods, sugary snacks, etc. And whenever required, we need to consult the doctor to take add-on supplements if required to be added in the diet. Now let's look into the fiber intake. So adequate fiber intake is so crucial for maintaining regular bowel movements and preventing constipation, which is very common issue during pregnancy. So we need to aim about 25 to 30 grams of dietary fiber per day. And whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and legumes are excellent sources of fiber. Now let's look at the type of diets. So first is vegetarian diet. So a vegetarian diet typically excludes meat, poultry, and seafood. However, there are different types of vegetarian diets. First is lacto-ovo-vegetarian, which includes dairy products and eggs along with plant-based food. And second is lacto-vegetarians, which includes dairy products but excludes egg. Then is ovo-vegetarian, which includes eggs but excludes dairy products. And then is pescatarians, which includes fish and seafood along with plant-based food. And vegetarian diets can really provide an array of nutrients if well planned. And protein sources like legumes, tofu, tempeh, and dairy products, eggs, and certain whole grain foods are also great sources of nutrients. And nutrient-rich foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and seeds are also essential for the balanced diet. Now, next is vegan diet. So, a vegan diet excludes all animal-derived products, including meat, poultry, seafood, dairy, eggs, honey, and other animal-based ingredients. So, vegan really rely solely on plant-based foods for their nutrition need. So, here, adequate nutrient intake is very crucial when following a vegan diet. And key nutrients to pay attention would be to include protein, iron, vitamin B12, calcium, omega-3 fatty acids, and plant with vitamin D. So plant-based protein sources can include legumes, tofu, tempeh, saffron, and certain grains. And fortified foods and supplements may be necessary to meet the nutrient requirements, especially for vitamin B12 and vitamin D. So let's look at the benefits of vegetarian and vegan diets. So well-planned vegetarian and vegan diets can be nutritionally adequate and have been associated with various health benefits like reduced risk of obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and certain cancer. And they are typically high in fiber, antioxidants, and phytochemicals that are found in the plant-based foods. Second is environmental impact. So plant-based diets are generally have lower environmental footprint compared to the diets that are rich in animal products, as they require fewer resources and produce fewer greenhouse gas emissions. Next is animal welfare. So many individuals choose vegetarian or vegan diets to align with their ethical beliefs and reduce the harm caused to animals in the food production industry. Now, let's look at the role of organic and whole foods. So organic and whole foods really play an important role in promoting health and well-being. So some of the key aspects would be, number one is nutrient density. So whole foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, nuts are really generally rich in essential nutrients like vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. And these nutrients are important for maintaining optimal health and supporting bodily functions and preventing nutrient deficiency. Next is organic foods to have reduced chemical exposure. So organic foods are grown without the use of synthetic pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, or genetically modified organisms, GMOs. And choosing organic options will reduce exposure to potentially harmful chemicals and residues, which may have adverse effects on the health, specifically when one is pregnant, and also when consumed over time, it accumulates the side effects. Next is environmental impact. So organic farming practices prioritize sustainability, biodiversity, and as well as soil health. And by supporting organic agriculture, we contribute to the reduction of chemical pollution, soil erosion, and water contamination. And organic farming also promotes wildlife conservation and overall ecosystem of health. Now, next is flavor and quality. So whole foods, especially when consumed in their natural and unprocessed form, often have superior taste and flavor as compared to highly processed alternatives. And they can provide more enjoyable eating experience, leading to increased satisfaction and greater likelihood of maintaining a healthy diet. Next is fiber and digestive health. So whole foods, particularly whole grains, legumes, fruits, and vegetables are excellent sources of dietary fiber, and fiber plays a crucial role in supporting digestive health and promoting regular bowel movements and preventing conditions like constipation, diverticulosis, as well as colorectal cancer. Now, blood sugar control. So, whole foods like grains, legumes, non-starchy vegetables, complex carbs are really digested more slowly, and they do lead to regulating release of glucose in the bloodstream, and this helps regulate blood sugar levels and also prevent rapid spikes and crashes that can contribute to insulin resistance as well as type 2 diabetes. Next is reduce additives and preservatives. So whole foods are typically free from artificial additives, preservatives, flavorings, and coloring commonly found in processed foods. Consuming fewer additives can reduce the risk of adverse reaction and potential health concern associated with certain artificial ingredients. While organic and whole foods do offer numerous benefits, it's really essential to know that balanced diet can include a variety of foods, and including conventionally grown products and minimally processed options can be a great idea. And the most important aspect is to prioritize nutrient-dense whole foods, as they are the foundation of our diet, while making choices that align with the personal values of individual and health need and also their budget. Now let's look at the post-delivery recovery nutrition. So nutrient-dense foods that are required during this period would include foods that are rich in iron, like foods like red meat, beans, and fortified cereals to replenish the iron stores after the blood loss during the delivery time. So we need to consume foods that are rich in vitamin C also to aid the iron absorption. Foods like citrus fruits, bell peppers, strawberries, and incorporate omega-3 fatty acids also from fatty fish or walnuts or flaxseed to support the tissue repair and reduce the inflammation. And we need to choose fiber-rich foods like whole grains, fruits, and vegetables to prevent constipation. Now, consuming probiotics-rich foods like yogurt to promote healthy gut function and digestion or to aid also will really help. Maintaining hydration during post-delivery period. So maintaining hydration after pregnancy is so important for overall health and well-being, especially if the mother chooses to breastfeed. And some of the tips that can help stay hydrated during this period would be first, drinking plenty of water. So water is the best choice for hydration, and mother needs to aim to drink at least 10 cups a day or 80 ounces of water per day or more if she feels thirsty, especially if she's breastfeeding. So including foods like fresh fruits and vegetables that are high in water content can also contribute to overall hydration. Foods like watermelon, cucumber, oranges, strawberries, soups can really help. And we need to limit caffeine and alcohol, because both caffeine and alcohol contributes to dehydration. And if we consume these beverages, then we have to do it in moderation and balance the water intake accordingly. Now we need to carry a water bottle, and keeping a water bottle throughout the day with us, whether we are at home or on the go, will really help. And having water readily available will remind the mother to drink and make it more easier to stay hydrated. Setting a reminder can also be a great option, and it's common for new moms to be busy and forget to drink enough water. So setting a reminder on their phone or use apps that can notify to take a sip of water regularly can be a great idea. So next is drink before and after breastfeeding. Just set to mind that if you're breastfeeding, then make it a habit to drink water before and after each feeding session, and this really helps ensure that you stay hydrated and support the milk production. Then monitor urine color. Keeping an eye on the color of the urine can be a great idea. If it's pale yellow or clear, it indicates good hydration. Darker urine may indicate dehydration. So increasing water intake can be a great idea then. So mothers should not wait until they are thirsty. So thirst is not always a reliable indicator of hydration status. So it's best to drink water regularly throughout the day, even if one doesn't feel thirsty. Now let's look at the breastfeeding nutrition. So breastfeeding requires additional calories to support milk production, and it's really recommended that breastfeeding parents do consume extra 450 to 500 calories per day compared to their pre-pregnancy needs. However, individual calorie needs can vary, so it would be important to listen to their body's hunger and fullness cues. So first is to aim for a balanced diet. So aiming for a balanced diet that includes variety of nutrient-rich foods that might include grains, fruits, veggies, lean proteins, dairy or dairy alternative for someone who is lactose intolerant or on a vegan diet, and also including healthy fats. And this will help ensure an adequate intake of essential nutrients both for the mom and the baby. Then focusing on omega-3 fatty acids, particularly DHA. DHA is so important for the development of baby's brain and eyes, and so including omega-3 fatty acids in their diet, like fatty fish or walnuts or chia seeds and flax seeds. And if needed, they need to consider high quality fish oil or algae-based DHA supplement under the guidance of the doctor. Now, adding iron-rich food is also great and required at this point in time. So iron needs are increased during breastfeeding, so including iron-rich foods like meats, poultry, fish, legumes, tofu, leafy green vegetables, and fortified cereals to maintain iron level is great. And pairing these foods with vitamin C rich sources like citrus fruits, berries, bell peppers can enhance iron absorption. Now, calcium and vitamin D. Adequate calcium and vitamin D intake are important for maintaining bone health. So including dairy products or fortified alternatives like leafy green vegetables and calcium-set tofu and calcified fortified foods in our diet would be a great idea. Exposure to sunlight or vitamin D supplement may also be very, very necessary at this point in time. Now, including protein-rich foods like in our meals and snacks to support the tissue repair and growth is also a good idea at this point in time. So good sources of protein would be lean meats, poultry, fish, eggs, legumes, nuts, seeds, dairy, and non-dairy alternatives. Limiting caffeine and alcohol. So limiting caffeine and alcohol intake or avoiding excessive alcohol consumption should be really important at this point in time, because high level of caffeine can affect baby's sleep patterns, and alcohol can pass it into the breast milk and impact the baby's development. So next is nutrient supplementation. So most breastfeeding parents can meet their nutrient needs through the balanced diet. However, doctors can recommend some specific supplements such as prenatal vitamin or additional nutrients like vitamin D or iron or folic acid, calcium, and vitamin B complex vitamins based on individual circumstances. Now, hydration. So drinking plenty of fluids throughout the day to maintain hydration is also very important. And water is generally the best choice. But other beverages like herbal tea, milk, or fruit-infused water can also contribute to fluid intake. Now, let's look at the foods which can increase the milk production in the mother. So certain foods are believed to have properties that can potentially increase milk production while breastfeeding. So while specific evidence is really limited, but some women find that incorporating these foods into their diet has been beneficial in increasing the milk production. And some of the foods that are commonly suggested to help increase milk supply are oats. So oats are a good source of iron and fiber, and they contain type of fiber called beta glucan, which may help stimulate the production of prolactin, which is a hormone involved in milk production. So you can enjoy oatmeal, granola bars, or oats, and add oats to the smoothies, etc. Now, fenugreek seed or supplements that often has fenugreek are recommended to boost milk supply. So they contain phytoestrogens that are believed to stimulate milk production. However, it's really important to know that fenugreek can cause digestive upset for some people. So its effectiveness varies along individual to individual. Next is brewer's yeast. So brewer's yeast is a type of nutritional yeast that is rich in vitamin B and minerals, and it is often used as galactagogue, a substance that promotes milk production. And we can find brewer's yeast in supplement form or use it as a nutritional boost in baked good and smoothies. Now next is leafy green vegetables. So nutrient-rich leafy greens like spinach, kale, and Swiss chard provides essential vitamins and minerals, and they are also source of phytoestrogens and also can be included into salads, soups, stir fries, or smoothies. Nuts and seeds. So almonds, walnuts, sesame seeds, and flax seeds are nutrient-dense foods that may support milk production due to their healthy fat, protein, and fiber content. And they can be eaten as snacks or added to meals or used as toppings for yogurts, etc. Fennel seeds are also a great source. So fennel seeds or fennel tea are commonly used to increase milk supply, and they contain phytoestrogens and have been traditionally used as a galactagogue. So fennel can be brewed as a tea or incorporated into recipe as tea. Here what we need to remember is that each person's nutritional need may vary, so it's really important to again consult the registered dietitian or healthcare provider for personalized guidance during breastfeeding period also. Now, mindful eating practices can be also really helpful during this phase of motherhood. So, mindful eating is a practice that involves paying attention to the present moment and being fully aware of the food that one is eating, and also the sensation that the food is providing, and our body's cues of hunger and fullness. So, it can really promote a healthier relationship with food, enhance the enjoyment of eating, and support overall well-being. And some of the mindful eating practices that one can incorporate into their routine would be, number one is to eat slowly. Taking our time to savor each bite, chewing thoroughly, and allowing ourselves to fully experience the flavor, texture, and aromas of our food can be a great idea. Next is to engage our senses. Before taking a bite, observing the colors, shapes, and smell of food, and then appreciate its appearance and aroma, and engaging all the senses to heighten the eating experience may also be a great idea for mindful eating. Then removing distractions. We need to minimize the distractions like TV, smartphone, or other electronic devices while eating. Focusing on the meal in front of us can be a great act of eating. Then listening to our body, paying attention to our body's hunger and fullness cues, and eating when we are physically hungry, and stop when feeling full, or when we are just comfortably satisfied and not overly full. That's when we need to stop. And practicing portion control. So serving ourselves reasonable portion and being mindful of the portion sizes. So we can consider using smaller plates or bowls to help control portion sizes visually. And next is appropriate food sources. So appropriate we need to appreciate food sources, my bad. So taking a moment to reflect on the origins of our food and efforts involved in its production and the journey it took to reach your plate, and cultivating gratitude for the nourishment that the food is providing, all of this really increases the mindful eating experience. Now, tuning into our emotions. So we can notice our emotional state before and during eating, and being aware of any emotional triggers that may influence our eating habits, and consider finding any alternate ways to address emotional needs instead of turning to food. Next is being non-judgmental. So avoid labeling foods as good or bad and adopt a non-judgmental attitude towards our food choices, and focusing on nourishing our body with a balanced and varied diet. Now, practicing mindful meal planning. So planning our meals ahead of time and incorporating variety of nutrient-rich food. We can consider our preferences through that, and also focus on our nutritional needs, and also add focus on availability of fresh and whole foods, and then seek to seeking support wherever required. So if we are struggling with eating habits, and we have a complicated relationship with food, then we really need to consider to consult a therapist or a dietitian who specializes with these area, or a therapist who specializes in practices and therapy for food related disorders, and consider to receive all the help we can in area of food and guidance. And especially mothers who are already struggling with the food related mental disorders can really opt for looking for a therapist before they're choosing to be pregnant, because if they continue to have a bad relationship with food during pregnancy, then that can impact the health of their child. One important thing that we probably missed in this is iodine. So iodine is also a great important component which is very essential in health. So these days, industrialized salt is infused with iodine already, but if there are people who have switched to like other sources of salt, like maybe Himalayan rock salt or black salt, then they may not have enough exposure of industrialized infused iodine. So either they need to ensure that their food do have iodine, or they need to consume the salt that is treated with iodine. Now, in a nutshell, we would say that understanding proper nutrition during pregnancy, post-delivery recovery, as well as breastfeeding is very vital for both mother and the baby, and including a well-balanced diet that includes essential nutrients, and that is really crucial for all these phases of motherhood. And by focusing on the nutrient-dense foods and maintaining hydration and seeking guidance from healthcare providers in wherever needed and whenever needed, mothers can really optimize their nutritional status and support their own health and provide the best possible start for their babies. So since you as teachers and guides and mentors for the mothers now have an overall 360-degree view of what is required in order to maintain a better health during pregnancy, you can encourage the mothers to maybe take a small short course on the nutrition on pregnancy, or just give them general guidelines on macro and micronutrients and how they can really support their health in holistic way, and really add whatever is essential for the growth and development of the baby to their diet on day-to-day basis. And along with yoga practice, having a balanced diet will be greatly beneficial for their overall health, and together the baby and the mother will shine and will be vital throughout this phase. With that, I really hope that this contributed to your life and you will certainly contribute to the mother's health through this understanding. With that, thank you and